Hello everyone, this is Shukla, CA Intermediate All India Rank 8 in the May 23 examinations. On popular demand, I am making this YouTube video because people have been asking me a lot on how I cleared the examination with self-study, that too even without any YouTube lectures. I have got hundreds if not thousands of DMs of people asking for personal consultation. Now it is very difficult for me, so I am making this YouTube video. I have taken 6 to 7 questions which people have been repetitively asking me. So I guess here I go. So the question number 1 was, how many hours did I study? That's fairly subjective question, I would say. It depends on person to person, but what I would say is 8 to 10 hours of study is enough if you do it consistently, rather than going for 15 or 16 hours of study. You can go up to 12 hours of effective study, that is good, but more than that you are going to be ineffective and inefficient, and that is going to ultimately that is not going to give you a lot of progress. So I would say is go up to 12 hours. You take 15 minutes or 20 minutes break whenever you feel like, and you can even listen to some music. So I would say is fairly, there is a subjective question, but I would say you should at least give 8 to 10 hours consistently. You can take some breaks on Sundays, etc., but I would say 8 to 10 hours. Now the question number 2 is, how many revisions did I do? So that is also a subjective question. Coming on to practical stuff, for example accounts and advanced accounts and FMEGO and cost. I would not say tax, because tax is a theory as well as practical subject. So on practical subjects, I would say revision is maximum 3 to 4 revisions I would have done. But coming on to theoretical subjects, it is mandatory to do at least 6 to 7 revisions I would have done, especially in audit and EISSM. Without that many revisions, I was not even confident that I would clear the examination in the first place. So I would say rather you can go with 5 to 6 revisions, but in theory subjects especially, and revision is the key in order to clear the examinations. Now people have been asking you in how many months I studied and what I did. So in the first 3 months I was fairly confident. I would say that I would clear the examination. I got 99% in class 12, 356 marks in CA foundation. So I was thinking that I will do the CA intermediate examination, but believe it is not that easy if you ask me, because its syllabus is very voluminous. The syllabus is very voluminous, and in the first 3 months I got to know that it cannot be done without consistent studies. So I was putting in 5 to 6 hours here and there, and ultimately when I gave the first mock test, I would say, because I gave the previous year question papers, and I still remember that the taxation examinations of November 2020 that I gave as a previous year question paper which I solved. So I was not able to fairly score more than 40 in that. So I understood that it is not possible. So I started studying for 8 to 10 hours, and then yes, I was able to make it to 86 marks in this attempt. So I would really tell you that you need to study consistently. For the next 6 months I went 8 to 10 hours daily, and taking breaks of 2 to 3 hours on Sundays. And you are going to have an emergency work, so you will feel frustrated at once. I also used to feel, but after the results come out, you will feel that yes, I have done something. Coming on to how I got 100 in costing. So this question is fairly reasonable. People think that I would have been surprised after seeing my costing marks, but to be pretty honest, that was not even the thing. I did not feel surprised after seeing my costing marks, because after the day on which I gave the examination, I came back and I told my mother that the examination was quite tough, and I knew it was quite tough, and I was waiting for suggested answers to come out. I know it is not a good thing to look at the answers before giving the next paper, and you would feel demotivated or something. But I was fairly certain that I knew conceptually I was very strong in costing, FM, and I would say in all subjects. Conceptual clarity was there. So I was fairly certain that I will get marks, but then I saw and I was getting around about 90ish. So I knew I will get 100 in costing, because there would be 8 to 10 marks of grace if the paper was set up like this, because the questions were not directly from the SM, they were based on the concept that was given in SM. So that was fairly certain in costing. So people have asked me how I was able to get the marks. So it is RTPs, MTPs, and very importantly previous year question papers. And the institute's material is the priority. It is the most you can leave anything, but you cannot leave the institute's material. Even in this question paper, you will be able to find questions that were from the institute's material. If there were ifs and buts, but it was from the institute's material. Coming on to next thing, which study material that I used. I did not refer to any reference books. I used only institute study material, and institute study material is not just the institute's module that is of utmost supremacy, but I also used other institute's material, that is the RTPs, the MTPs, and very importantly in tax it is statutory update that comes out. People have been neglecting that statutory update. They go only and watch that amendments video that is made on YouTube or something. I would fairly tell you, please do that statutory update on your own, and it's a 60 to 70 page or 75 pages and statutory update was there. You need to take out only the key wordings that were there. For example, in GST you need to know what has been included into the exemptions and what has been excluded from there. How the ICU and ICU, there was a exemption named if there is a room rental of more than 5,000, then GST will be charged on that. Earlier all healthcare services were exempted from GST. So this all what it also came in the examination, in the GST examination, and I'm fairly certain that around about 50 to 60% paper came from that statutory update. So if ICI is giving something from their side, they think that you will read that. In GST, I would also like to say you go with the examples in the back questions. After reading the provisions, you need to read them once or twice, I would say thrice, and not more than that. Then you should go for examples and back questions, and also for the statutory update. In taxation too, I would say you need to read all the provisions at least once. You need to go through the module, and people will say how we can go through this big of a module. Then you will have to go through it. It is what worked for me. So I would fairly suggest you that thing. If there is a reference book, then also I would ask you to go through the module in order to see whether that reference book is exhaustive. If it is not, then I would never recommend you to use that. Now coming on to the next question is how you manage practical and theory. So I would tell you, I used to do a single subject in a day. There was no mix of practical and theory in the first place, because I feel like I need to give attention to one subject and then to another. So that is why I used to do this thing. Practical subjects like accounting and costing and FMECO, you need to do what is all you need to do is do the study mat, then do the RTPs, then do the MTPs. No, before RTPs and MTPs you need to do the previous year question paper. So once you complete the syllabus, or I would say rather you take a time, a number of days, say 7 days, I'll complete my accounts, and you are not able to complete it, you leave it then in there. Say 1 or 2 chapters are left, you leave it then in there, and you give the previous year question paper, you solve it, and you see whether your answers are correct or not, or what you have studied is coming in the question paper or not. If it is not coming in the question paper, then there is a high time in order to change the strategy which you are using. So I would say this. And in theory subjects, revision is the key. People are going to take me wrong in this one, but not for law. Conceptual clarity is a must. Audit also, conceptual clarity is a must. But EISSM, you'll have to mug up. I had to mug up. I cannot, I wouldn't understand everything that was written. I was able to understand some of the things, or I would say most of the things, but some of the things I was not able to understand. I just mugged up. And one key to passing the examination of EISSM is that you learn the heading, and inside I would say you can write, you must try to write what institute has given. I'm not fairly certain that you must write keywords in that. Don't panic, and don't even bother trying that, because you are not going to remember it. Try remembering the headings. It is of utmost importance. You will get marks. Coming on to SM, in the case study based the case study based questions, you ought to write the questions. Yes, in the answers you ought to write the questions. They are of a single mark or 2 marks. You may lose if you are not writing the questions, and I have seen that in the All India rank 1 copy he was able to get only, of what I remember, 20 or 25 marks. I'm sorry if I'm wrong here, but what I remember is that he lost his marks in SM just because he did not write the questions. That is, question in the sense he did not explain the case study. He wrote the whole answer, but he did not explain why he wrote the answer as to how it is important for the case study. So you need to copy the whole question into your answer, and in the sense of making it an answer, of explaining because of this thing I am writing this thing, and this is how you can get marks in SM. Now coming on to audit, you need to understand it once, but then I would say, for example, chapter 9 and chapter 13, they're very big and fairly certain. I'm telling you that I was not able to do them in the 1.5 day revision, and then also I scored 80. Yes, I know the paper was easier than it was in the past attempts, but I would say that you should try to understand, but then everything comes down to learning the keywords. In chapter 9 and chapter 13, you need to understand and you need to write in your own words. Try writing as much as possible from the institutes, but you can write in your own language. But other than that, I would not suggest you to write in your own words. You need to write the institute's language and go for the previous year question papers, RTPs and MTPs, and after you complete each chapter, go for that RTP. That is going to help you a lot because you're going to remember what you studied just now. And this is all from my side. If you have any questions, you can ask me. Thank you very much.